I'm Kathy from Absolutely Fabulous at Home, and today we're going to look at some classic bakeware, some of which you may have in your kitchen, but some of which you might not know the variety of. But before we do that, I want to look at another classic apron. This is a linen apron, and it doesn't have any ties. This is a great apron for somebody who doesn't really like a lot of ties around their neck, and it's on. I love it. It's got big pockets too, which I always really like pockets. Just a really nice apron, great coverage, crosses over in the back so it feels comfortable, nothing pulling on my neck or my hair. So now I'm ready to bake. First of all, a lot of people know, of course, what these are. They're springform pans, but did you know they come in all these sizes? We have this little mini one, little 4-inch pan, perfect for individual desserts or if you wanted to do little quiches. This is a great size for 2 people. It's about 6 inches. Your classic 8-inch. And maybe even more so your classic 9-inch. But as you can see, these are all different materials. The original springform pans were made of tin. Very light, very durable, but very susceptible to rust. So if you're going to use your tin, you have to make sure that when you wash it, you take it all apart and you let it sit somewhere until it's fully dry. If you put this away and it's the least bit damp, it's going to start to rust on you. Not that that's necessarily what's going to affect your baking, but it isn't going to look very good. And yes, that rust could translate a little bit onto your baked goods. More and more you see a heavier pan today. These are non-stick. These are from Meyer, our PEI company. And it's much heavier. You can't see that in the video, but this one probably weighs about 3 times as much as this one. Not susceptible to rust, much easier to care for. This is a small version of a tin pan, but it has a little bit of an anti-rust property on it. And this is a fully non-stick, so that won't rust. So those are springform pans. And we actually have one that goes even a little bit higher. But if you like cheesecake and you don't want to make big cheesecakes, maybe you want mini cheesecakes. So this pan has little holes all in the bottom of it, except for the little discs. So it comes like this. You get all your discs. I just don't have them all in here. And much like a springform pan, where you're going to want to be able to push out your cheesecake or your quiche without ruining the crust, you drop the disc in the bottom. When whatever you're baking is baked, you just push it up from the bottom as the pan's cooled, and it will release non-stick, and it makes perfect little individual size mini quiches or mini cheesecakes. Sometimes your recipe calls for something called a loose bottomed pan. And you think, well, that just kind of sounds a little bit rude, but it's not. A loose bottomed pan is, just like the cheesecake pan, one that has a disc or a bottom that comes out of it. And again, this is so that, for instance, if you were baking something and you needed to bake the crust first, but then you were going to take it out to serve it, you don't want to serve it in this. It doesn't look very good, and maybe it's going to not cut very well. When you've baked it and it's cooled, you're going to push up from the bottom. This is going to fall away from the crust, and you're going to be able to slide this off the bottom of your quiche or dessert. These come in a whole range of sizes. This is the little individual one, about 3.5 inches, 4 inches in diameter. This is another version. Again, we're back to the original tin. In order to get a range of sizes in all of these products, I buy them in different materials so that I can offer the different sizes. This is fully tin, same idea. Fits in here. You would pat your crust into here, bake it, whether you're going to bake it blind by putting the little beads in so the crust doesn't puff up, or you're going to bake it filled like a quiche, and then you're able to lift up the bottom to be able to cut it. So this one's about 8 inches. This one is about 9.5. Kind of a more traditional quiche size. And then this one for the crowd, an 11-inch quiche pan. And one little trick I'll give you is whenever I'm baking a quiche or any kind of using these kind of pans, I take out my disc and I lay it on a piece of parchment paper and I trace around it. Then I put the parchment paper circle on top of my disc. Then I put it back into the pan and load my pastry. And what I find is, because these are so thin, once the product's all, or the pastry's all baked, if I try to cut this with a knife, I'm going to gouge this. By having a piece of parchment paper, I can take my sheet and I can slide off the quiche or the dessert onto a cutting board, and the parchment paper comes with the quiche or the dessert, and it leaves my disc all nice and intact and ready to go for another time. This is my favorite. I have a chocolate dessert, a chocolate tart that I make. I just love this one. It's rectangular. It has the bottom's glued in here, a little bit stuck in. The bottom comes out. You could make a chocolate crust on this with a chocolate custard. And then when you pop it out, it's cut into fingers. It's such a pretty dessert and it tastes delicious. So if it's time for dessert in your family, or you just want to up your game with bakeware, get yourself a great mat. The mat has all the circles in it, so if you're wanting to cut pastry for a 4-inch or a 5-inch, it'll tell you right here as you roll your pastry out so that you get it all just right. We have the bakeware to get it all just right, and then all you need is people to enjoy the eating.